The shuttle shook hard as it entered the atmosphere of 7. Inside, 12 humans sat in their seats, holding tight to the straps that kept them in place. Most of them had never left Earth before. Most of them had never seen an alien in person. Now they were about to live with hundreds of them. Sergeant Park sat at the front of the group. He was 32 years old, with a calm face that rarely showed emotion. He had spent 10 years in the Korean Special Forces before volunteering for this program. The Galactic Coalition wanted human soldiers, and Earth had sent its best. Was not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Next to him sat Private. She was younger, only 24, but her eyes were sharp and steady. She was one of the best shooters in the Asian Military Alliance. She could hit a target from 2 kilometers away without blinking. Right now, she was looking out the small window at the purple clouds below. "Looks like someone spilled grape juice on the sky," she said quietly. Behind them, Corporal Lee laughed nervously. He was the team's technology expert, good with computers and machines, but not so good with stress. He talked too much when he was scared, and right now he had not stopped talking for 20 minutes. "Did you know this planet has 3 moons?" said to no one in particular. 3 moons. Can you imagine the tides? I read that the ocean moves up and down by 50 meters every day. 50 meters. That is like a building appearing and disappearing twice a day. Said without turning around, "Breathe." "Right, breathing. I am breathing. I am very good at breathing." The shuttle broke through the clouds, and suddenly the academy was visible below. It was massive. The main building was a black pyramid that stretched toward the sky, surrounded by dozens of smaller structures. Landing pads dotted the ground like spots on a ladybug. Ships of all shapes and sizes came and went, carrying students and supplies from across the galaxy. The shuttle touched down with a gentle bump. The door opened and warm air rushed in. It smelled strange, like metal and flowers mixed together. The humans grabbed their bags and stepped outside. They were immediately surrounded by aliens. Had seen pictures during his training, but pictures did not prepare him for reality. There were tall creatures with blue skin and too many joints in their arms. There were short, round beings covered in thick fur that changed color as they moved. There were things that looked like walking insects, things that looked like floating jellyfish, and things that could not even begin to describe. And all of them were staring at the humans. "Why are they looking at us like that?" asked quietly. "Because they have never seen humans before," replied. "We are the new species, the strange ones." A path cleared through the crowd, and a figure approached. He was one of the warrior species that dominated the coalition military. He stood over 2 meters tall, with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected light like broken mirrors. His skin was dark green, like old leaves, and his mouth was a collection of sharp mandibles that clicked when he moved them. "I am Commander," they said. His voice was deep and rough like rocks grinding together. "I am your instructor. You will follow me." He turned and walked away without waiting for a response. The humans hurried to follow. As they walked through the academy, noticed that other aliens moved out of their way. Not out of respect for the humans, but out of respect for. The commander was clearly someone important, someone feared. "Humans," said as they walked, "your species has been part of the coalition for only 5 years. You have contributed nothing of value to our military efforts. Your planet is classified as a garden world, soft and comfortable. Your bodies are weak. Your technology is primitive. You are here because the coalition believes in giving every species a chance." He stopped and turned to face them. His compound eyes seemed to look at all 12 humans at the same time. "I do not share that belief. I think you will fail. I think you will go home crying for your mothers within 1 month, but I will give you the same tests as everyone else. I will not make things easy for you, and I will not make things hard. You will simply face the standard, and the standard will break you." Raised her hand. Stared at her. "What? Sir, what exactly will we be tested on?" Combat aptitude, reflexes, survival instincts, the basic requirements for any soldier in the coalition. He leaned closer, his mandibles clicking softly. We use live ammunition, real weapons, real danger. Many recruits are injured, some die. Is that a problem for you, human? Thought about it for a moment. No, sir, I was just curious. Made a sound that might have been a laugh. Curious. We will see how curious you are when plasma bolts are flying at your head. He led them to their barracks, a small building at the edge of the academy grounds. It was simple and clean, with beds lined up against the walls. Other recruits watched from nearby buildings, whispering among themselves. Later that night, found sitting outside, looking up at the three moons. "What do you think?" he asked. "I think they expect us to fail," said. "They do. I think that is a mistake." Sat down next to her. "Why?" Smiled, but there was something sharp in it. "Because they do not know what made us. They think Earth is soft. They have never seen our tigers, our sharks, our snakes. Everything on our planet wants to kill everything else. We grew up running from death." She looked at him. "What is a plasma bolt compared to a hungry lion?" Did not answer. He just looked up at the moons and wondered what tomorrow would bring. Across the academy, Commander was filing his report. Under expected performance, he wrote a single word. Failure. He would soon learn how wrong he was. The testing chamber was a massive room built deep underground. The walls were made of thick metal that could absorb plasma fire without melting. The floor was covered with obstacles, walls, pillars, and barriers arranged in a complex maze. Hidden in the ceiling and walls were 200 automated turrets, each one loaded with live plasma rounds. This was the Reflex Gauntlet, and it had broken soldiers from 100 different species. Stood with his squad in the observation deck above the chamber. They watched through thick glass as alien recruits prepared for their turn. The room was crowded with species from across the galaxy, all of them nervous, all of them scared. "The rules are simple," Commander announced through the speakers. "Cross from one side of the chamber to the other. The turrets will fire at you. Dodge them. If you are hit, you fail. If you make it across, we measure your reaction time. The passing standard is 0.4 seconds. Frowned. 0.4 seconds. That seems pretty slow. A nearby alien, a small creature covered in gray scales, looked at him with horror. Slow. That is the fastest reaction time in the coalition. Only the elite warriors achieve it. Opened his mouth to respond, but elbowed him in the ribs. The first group entered the chamber. They were the same species as Commander. They had 4 arms and compound eyes that could see in multiple directions at once. They were considered the best warriors in the galaxy. The buzzer sounded, the turrets activated. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Plasma bolts flew through the air, bright blue streaks of deadly light. The recruits moved fast, their 4 arms helping them climb and swing through the obstacles. They ducked, jumped, and rolled, their compound eyes tracking multiple threats at once. But even they could not dodge everything. One took a hit to the shoulder and went down screaming. Another caught a bolt in the leg and collapsed behind a barrier. The medical team rushed in to drag them out. The remaining pushed forward, desperation in their movements. After 3 minutes, the test ended. 5 of the 8 had made it across. Their average reaction time was 0.38 seconds, slightly better than the passing standard. They emerged from the chamber shaking, covered in sweat, gasping for air. Commander nodded with approval. Excellent performance. They continue to set the standard for all species. The observation deck filled with applause. The recruits accepted the praise with tired pride. Then turned to the humans. "Your turn." The room went quiet. Every alien in the observation deck turned to watch. Some of them smiled with amusement. Others whispered bets about how quickly the humans would fail. Led his squad down to the chamber floor. There were 8 of them taking the test today, and 5 others. They lined up at the starting position and looked at the maze of death ahead. "Everyone ready?" asked. Yawned Sure. Cracked his knuckles. "My grandmother's house has scarier hallways than this." In the observation deck, Commander watched with his mandibles pressed tight together. He expected the humans to panic. He expected them to freeze. He expected at least half of them to be carried out on stretchers. The buzzer sounded. The turrets activated. And the humans started walking. Not running, not sprinting, walking. Commander leaned forward. What were they doing? Did they not understand the danger? Plasma bolts flew toward the humans. Blue streaks of death cut through the air at lethal speeds. The humans moved. It was not dramatic. It was not flashy. They simply were not where the bolts were going. Shifted his weight slightly to the left, and a bolt passed through the space where his head had been. Tilted her body backward, almost lazily, and a bolt flew past her nose. Stepped to the side without even looking at the turret that had fired at him. They kept walking. The observation deck was completely silent. Every alien watched with wide eyes and open mouths. The recruits who had just finished their test stared in disbelief. Halfway through the chamber stopped. She bent down and started tying her boot, which had come loose. A plasma bolt flew toward her head. She leaned slightly to the right without looking up. The bolt missed her by centimeters. She finished tying her boot and stood up. Then she continued walking. "What?" Commander whispered. "What am I watching?" The humans reached the other side of the chamber, all 8 of them. No injuries, no panic. Some of them were not even breathing hard. The results appeared on the screen above the chamber. Average reaction time, 0.18 seconds. The observation deck exploded with noise. Aliens shouted, screamed, and argued with each other. Some insisted the equipment was broken. Others demanded a recount. The recruits looked like they had seen ghosts. Commander stood frozen. He read the number again and again and again. 0.18 seconds. That was not possible. That was faster than the neural processing speed of most species. That was faster than us compound eyes could track. That was faster than anything he had ever seen. Down on the chamber floor, looked up at the observation deck. He saw the shock on every alien face. He saw Commander standing like a statue. "How did we do?" asked, genuinely curious. "I think we did okay," replied. Laughed nervously. Was that supposed to be hard? Because that felt like dodgeball practice back home, except slower. In the observation deck, a young alien turned to his friend. "What is dodgeball?" "I do not know," his friend replied, "but I never want to find out." Commander finally moved. He turned away from the glass and walked toward the elevator. He needed to go down there. He needed to understand what he had just witnessed. He needed answers. And for the first time in his long military career, Commander felt something he had not felt since he was a child. He felt fear. Commander marched onto the chamber floor with heavy steps. His 4 arms were clenched into fists. His compound eyes cycled through colors that showed his confusion and anger. Behind him, a dozen officers followed. They're ready to record everything. The human squad stood casually near the exit, was checking her fingernails, was looking at the ceiling with curiosity, stood with his hands behind his back, watching approach with a calm expression. "What?" growled was that. Tilted his head, "Sir. Do not play games with me, human." Stopped directly in front of him, towering over the sergeant by half a meter. "You walked through the reflex gauntlet like it was a garden path. You dodged plasma fire without even trying. One of your soldiers stopped to tie her boot in the middle of live combat." He pointed one of his 4 arms at, "Explain yourself." Looked up from her nails. "My boot was untied, sir. It is dangerous to run with untied boots. You could trip. You could have been killed. But I was not." Made a sound of frustration that came from deep in his throat. He turned back to, Your reaction times were 0.18 seconds. That is impossible. The average across all coalition species is 0.5 seconds. The elite warriors achieve 0.38 seconds after years of training. You are telling me that untrained humans are twice as fast as our best soldiers. Consider the question carefully. We are not untrained, sir. We have all served in Earth's military. But I think I understand your confusion. What is considered fast for the Coalition might be different from what is considered fast on Earth. What do you mean? Sir, on Earth, our ancestors survived by being faster than everything trying to eat them. Lions can run at 70 kilometers per hour. Snakes can strike in less than a tenth of a second. We had to be faster, or we died. Every human alive today is descended from people who could dodge danger before they even knew it was there. Stared at him. You are saying your entire species evolved to be this fast. Not just fast, added. She walked over to join the conversation. We can also see patterns, predict movement. Our brains are very good at knowing where something will be before it gets there. It is called anticipation. The turrets in your test have predictable firing patterns. Once I understood the pattern, dodging was easy. You analyzed the turret patterns while they were shooting at you. Yes, sir. They repeat every 4.7 seconds. Turned to one of his officers. The officer checked her and nodded. The turrets did repeat every 4.7 seconds. It was supposed to be a secret. This is wrong, muttered. He paced back and forth, his mandibles clicking rapidly. Your planet is classified as a garden world. Category 3. Mild climate, abundant resources, no significant dangers. How can you have evolved such extreme reflexes in a safe environment? Raised his hand nervously. Sir, I think there might be a mistake in your classification system. What kind of mistake? Earth is not safe, sir. Not at all. We have animals that can kill with a single bite, plants that are poisonous to touch, insects that carry diseases. We have earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, volcanoes, and floods. Half of our planet is covered in water that is full of things with sharp teeth. The other half is covered in forests and deserts that are also full of things with sharp teeth. He paused. I am beginning to think the Coalition does not know what a dangerous planet actually looks like. Stopped packing. He stood very still for a long moment, then he spoke in a quiet voice. Show me your planet. Pulled out his personal device and activated the projection function. An image of Earth appeared in the air, beautiful and blue. This is our home, said. It looks peaceful from space, but let me show you what lives there. He changed the image. Now they were looking at a great white shark, its mouth open to reveal rows of teeth. This is a shark. It can smell blood from 5 kilometers away. It attacks without warning. Another image, a lioness running across golden grass. This is a lion. It hunts in groups. It can take down animals 10 times its size. Another image, a small, colorful frog sitting on a leaf. This is a poison dart frog. It is the size of my thumb. Its skin carries enough poison to kill 20 humans. Watched each image with growing horror. Another image, a mosquito. This is a mosquito. It is very small. It has killed more humans than any other animal in history. Hundreds of millions of deaths just from this tiny creature. The officers behind were writing furiously on there. Some of them had gone pale, or whatever color their species turned when they were scared. Turned off the projection. Sir, we do not think we are special. On Earth, everyone learns to be fast. Everyone learns to watch for danger. If you do not, you die. It is simply how things are. Was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice had lost its anger. Now it carried something else. Respect, maybe, or fear. Your planet, he said slowly, is not a garden world. It is a death world. And somehow, impossibly, your species looked at that death world and decided to become the most dangerous thing on it. Smiled slightly. We did not have much choice, sir. Looked at the human squad, really looked at them for the first time. He saw their relaxed postures, their calm eyes, their easy confidence. These were not soft creatures from a peaceful world. These were predators, survivors, warriors born from a planet that had tried to kill them every day for millions of years. "I need to make some calls," said quietly. "Return to your barracks, you have tomorrow off." As the humans walked away, turned to, "Did we do something wrong?" Shook his head. "No, we just changed how they see us." Behind them, Commander was already contacting the Academy leadership. The message was simple but urgent. "We need to reclassify Earth immediately. These humans are not what we thought they were. They are not prey. They are apex predators. And we have just invited them into our military." 3 days passed. During that time, the humans noticed something strange. Other recruits stopped making fun of them. Instead, they watched from a distance with curious and nervous eyes. Conversations stopped when humans walked by. Aliens moved out of their way in the hallways. "I think we scared them," said during breakfast. He was eating something purple that tasted like sweet potatoes. "Everyone keeps staring at us like we are going to bite them." Shrugged, "Let them stare. More room for us in the food line." Said nothing. He was watching Commander, who had just entered the dining hall and was walking straight toward their table. The Commander stopped in front of them. His posture was stiff, formal, completely different from the angry instructor they had met on their first day. "Sergeant Park, your squad will report to Testing Chamber 7 at 1400 hours. There will be a new evaluation." Set down his utensils. "Another reflex test, sir." "Yes, but this one has been modified for your species." "Modified how?" His mandibles clicked once. "You will see." He turned and walked away. Around the dining hall, aliens whispered to each other. Modified tests. Everyone knew what that meant. The Academy had decided the humans were too fast, so they were making things harder. Much harder. At 1400 hours, the humans entered Testing Chamber 7. It looked similar to the first chamber, but there were differences. The turrets on the walls were larger. There were more of them, and they were pointed at the starting position with cold, mechanical patience. Stood in the observation deck with a crowd of officers and scientists. They had come from across the Academy to watch. Some had come from other planets. The humans had become famous overnight, and everyone wanted to see if they could survive the new challenge. "The rules are the same," announced. "Cross from one side to the other, but the parameters have been adjusted. Turret speed has been tripled. Projectile velocity has been doubled. Firing patterns are now randomized, no repeating sequences." In the starting position, frowned. "They tripled the speed. That seems excessive." "They are scared of us," said quietly. "This is a test to find our limits. And if we pass, then they will be even more scared." The buzzer sounded. The chamber exploded with light. Plasma bolts filled the air like a storm of blue lightning. They came from every direction, every angle, with no pattern and no mercy. The turrets fired 3 times faster than before, tracking the humans with improved sensors and updated targeting systems. This time, the humans did not walk. They ran. Moved first, launching himself forward with explosive speed. His body twisted and turned as bolts flew past him, missing by centimeters. He could feel the heat on his skin, the burn of plasma passing too close. This was nothing like the first test. This was real danger. This was a true challenge. Beside him was a blur of motion. She ducked under one bolt, jumped over another, and spun sideways to avoid a third. Her eyes were wide open, tracking everything, calculating everything. There was no time to count ceiling tiles now. There was only survival. Ran behind them, his face pale with fear but his body moving on pure instinct. He did not think about what he was doing. He simply moved, letting millions of years of evolution guide his muscles. Left, right, down, up. His body knew what to do even when his mind was screaming in terror. The other humans spread out across the chamber, each one fighting their own battle against the storm of fire. Private took a grazing hit to her arm but kept moving. Corporal hand dove behind a barrier just as a dozen bolts destroyed the air where he had been standing. 30 seconds passed. It felt like 30 hours. Reached the far wall first. He pressed his back against it and watched as his squad members arrived one by one. Came next, then the others. Was last, her arm burned but her eyes fierce with determination. The turret stopped firing. Silence filled the chamber. In the observation deck, no one moved. No one spoke. They simply stared at the 8 humans standing at the far end of the chamber, all of them alive, all of them breathing hard but standing. The results appeared on the screen. Average reaction time, 0.09 seconds. Commander read the number. Then he sat down heavily in the nearest chair. His compound eyes were fixed on the humans below, and his mandibles hung loose in an expression of complete disbelief. "That is not possible," one of the scientists whispered. 0.09 seconds is faster than our fastest computers can calculate targeting solutions. These humans are reacting before our technology can even aim. "They are predicting the shots," another scientist said. "They are anticipating where the bolts will go before they are fired. That requires processing speeds that should be impossible for biological creatures." Said nothing, he just kept staring. Down in the chamber, leaned against the wall and wiped sweat from her forehead. "Okay," she admitted. "That one was actually difficult." "Difficult?" laughed, but it sounded a little crazy. "I think I saw my life flash before my eyes, twice." Looked at his arm. The burn was not deep, but it would leave a scar. "Medical team will check that," he said. "Good job keeping moving." Nodded. "On Earth, we say that pain is just weakness leaving the body." "That is very stupid," said. "Yes," agreed, "but it works." The chamber doors opened, and Commander walked in. He approached the humans slowly, like a man approaching something he did not fully understand. "Sergeant Park," he said. His voice was quiet, almost soft. "In my entire career, I have never seen anything like what I just witnessed. You faced a test that would kill most species in the coalition. You not only survived, you succeeded, with reaction times that defy everything we know about biology." Stood at attention. "Thank you, sir." Shook his head. "It is not a compliment, it is a warning." He looked at each human in turn. "The coalition has been at war for 300 years. We have faced enemies from across the galaxy, but we have never faced anything like you." He turned to leave, then stopped. "I am updating your personnel files tonight. I am recommending that humans never be engaged in direct combat. Any enemy that faces you should use long-range weapons, automated systems, or orbital bombardment only." He looked back at them one more time. "Close combat with humans should be considered suicide." He walked away. Watched him go. "I think that was a compliment." "Maybe," said. He looked at his squad, these ordinary humans who had just done something extraordinary. "Let's go get some food. I'm hungry." They walked out of the chamber together, leaving behind a room full of burn marks and broken expectations. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again. 6 months had passed since the humans first arrived at the academy. In that time, everything had changed. The fear came first. After word spread about the reflex tests, other recruits avoided the humans completely. They changed their walking paths to stay away from human dormitories. They sat at different tables in the dining hall. They whispered stories about the death world species that could dodge plasma fire and predict the future. But fear cannot last forever. Slowly, something else began to grow. It started with small things. Noticed a young struggling with hand-to-hand combat training. The four-armed alien could not figure out how to use his extra limbs effectively in a fight. Without thinking, walked over and showed him a technique. 2 arms for defense, 2 arms for attack, constantly switching. The practiced for 3 days and improved his scores by 40%. Found an alien sniper who could not hit targets beyond 500 meters. She taught him breathing techniques that human snipers had used for centuries. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, squeeze the trigger between heartbeats. The alien's accuracy doubled within a week. Discovered that half the equipment in the academy was poorly maintained. He started fixing things. Communication devices, training drones, even the coffee machines in the recreation room. He never asked for anything in return. He just liked making things work. Word spread again, but this time the stories were different. The humans were not just fast, they were kind. The humans were not just deadly, they were helpful. The humans were not here to dominate, they were here to belong. One morning woke up to find a gift outside his door. It was a small stone carved into the shape of a flower, left by the recruit he had helped. There was no note, but there did not need to be. He understood. Similar gifts appeared for other humans. Strange foods from distant planets, handmade crafts, small tokens of appreciation from species they had never even spoken to. Commander watched this transformation with quiet amazement. He had served in the military for 40 years. He had seen species go to war over minor insults. He had watched alliances crumble because of pride and fear. But he had never seen anything like what the humans were doing. They were building bridges instead of walls. On the day the new recruits arrived, stood on the landing pad and waited. Another shuttle was coming from Earth, carrying the second batch of human soldiers. The Academy had requested more of them, many more, and Earth had answered. The shuttle landed. The door opened. Young humans stepped out into the purple sunlight of 7, looking around with wide eyes at the alien world they would now call home. One of them, a young woman with a bright smile, tripped over her own luggage. She laughed at herself, not embarrassed at all, and bent down to pick up her scattered belongings. A nearby alien recruit, nervous and unsure, had also dropped some things in the confusion. Without hesitation, the human woman helped him gather his items. She said cheerfully. Nice to meet you. What's your name? The alien, a small creature with orange fur and too many eyes, blinked at her in surprise. No one had ever asked his name before, not on the first day. I am called, he said quietly. That's a great name. Hey, do you know where the barracks are? I'm completely lost already. Yes, I can show you. Really? That would be amazing. Thank you so much. They walked away together, the nervous alien and the cheerful human, chatting like old friends. Watch them go. Beside him had appeared silently, as humans often did. More of your people said. Yes, sir. Will they be like you, fast, deadly, terrifying? Thought about it. Yes, sir, but also kind, helpful, friendly. We are all of those things at once. Made a sound that might have been a laugh. When you first arrived, I thought you would fail. I thought your species was weak and soft. I was wrong. He paused. But I think I was wrong in another way too. How so, sir? I thought the greatest danger humans posed was their speed, their reflexes, their survival instincts. Shook his head slowly. I was wrong. The greatest danger is something else entirely. What is that, sir? Turned to look at him. His compound eyes reflected the purple sky and the academy buildings, and the dozens of species walking together across the grounds. You make us like you, said. That recruit I saw you training, he now teaches other recruits the same techniques. The breathing methods your sniper shared, 3 different species have adopted them. Your technology expert has created a repair network across the entire academy. He made another sound, definitely a laugh this time. You are contagious. Your kindness spreads. Your helpfulness multiplies. In 6 months, you have changed this academy more than any species has changed it in decades. Smiled slightly. We are social creatures, sir. We survive by working together, by helping each other, by building communities. Even with aliens, with species you have never met before. Especially with them. watched disappear around a corner with her new alien friend. On Earth, we have a saying, a stranger is just a friend you have not met yet. Considered this. That is either very wise or very naive. Maybe both, sir. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the academy come to life around them. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved through the grounds, training, studying, living together. And among them, humans walked freely, no longer feared, no longer avoided, but welcomed. Spoke again, his voice thoughtful. I have updated my assessment of your species. Would you like to know what it says? Yes, sir. It says that humans are the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. He paused. And then it says that they are also the most valuable allies we could ever hope for, because the most dangerous beings in the galaxy are the ones kind enough not to show it. Nodded, that sounds about right, sir. Turned to leave, then stopped. Sergeant Park, thank you. For what, sir? For proving me wrong. He walked away, his forearms swinging at his sides, his posture lighter than had ever seen. That night the humans gathered on the roof of their barracks. 12 original soldiers, plus 24 new arrivals, all sitting together under 3 moons. Was teaching how to play a card game from Earth. Was explaining the Academy's quirks to a group of nervous newcomers. Was showing off her arm scar, which had healed but remained as a badge of honor. Sat apart looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning, full of tigers and sharks and poisonous frogs and everything else that had made humans what they were. A death world that had created survivors, predators, warriors, but also helpers, friends, family. He smiled. The galaxy had expected monsters. Instead, they got humans. And humans, as it turned out, were so much more than anyone had ever imagined. The story of humanity among the stars was just beginning, and it would be a story of strength and kindness, of survival and friendship, of beings who could dodge plasma fire and still stop to help a stranger pick up their luggage. That was the human way. And the galaxy would never be the same.